News at 5.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Guy Atchley.
And I'm Stella Inger. A flip-flop of temperatures in just 24 hours. Yesterday, warm. Today, a totally different story.
Here's a live look toward the north and the Catalinas. You can see the clouds moving in and the strong winds. Last night's storm led to dangerous conditions on Mount Lemmon, and authorities have closed the road. That's where we join 9 on your side's Ricky Mitchell with more on what the mountain experienced today.
Yeah, Guy, right now we kind of have a weird mix between rain and hail falling here at the base, but up on Mount Lemmon, yeah, they had quite a crazy day of weather. Everything between power outages, icy roads, definitely some cleanup had to be done today. And deputies here at the base are telling drivers that the road will likely be closed through the night and, weather permitting, will then reopen tomorrow morning. Residents on the mountain reported to KGUN9 that temperatures dropped to about 15 degrees today, with the wind chill making it feel more like 5 degrees. The storm knocked over several trees, including one near the chairlift at Ski Valley. And thank you to Nick, who works there, for sending us these photos. Trees also blew into power lines, causing outages that lasted into the morning hours. But as of about 12:40 today, Trico Electric reported that all but 12 customers had their power restored, and crews were actively working on the problem. At its highest, though, Trico says that more than 180 customers lost power because of last night's storm. Now back out here live, again, deputies here at the base are telling drivers to not expect the road to reopen until tomorrow morning. We're starting to see a little bit more what looks like snow come down now, too. I don't know if you can see it falling on my jacket. But if you want to check before you head out to make sure the road is open, you can call the Pima County Road Conditions Hotline. That number is 547-7510. They update it every time there's something new. Reporting live from the east side, I'm Ricky Mitchell, KGUN9 on your side.
Now, your first warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen.
Yeah, certainly some foggy conditions there as we give you a live look from our station toward the Catalinas, and a live look atop Mount Lemmon now, courtesy of Simply Bits. We are seeing that snow on the ground and very low visibility, barely seeing the radio towers that are up there because of the fog that's in the air and the snow that is still falling. So far, Summer Haven as well as Ski Valley have both received about 5 inches of brand new snow. Places like Bisbee, Elgin, Canelo, you've seen up to about 2 inches worth of snow. Mount Graham takes home the snow trophy, if you will, with 7 inches worth. Even some snow in the Tombstone area today. Right now, Tucson has dropped to 48, 37 Wilcox, 42 Douglas, 38 in Sierra Vista, but brace for sub-freezing temperatures tonight. That's right, you'll need to dig out all those frost clouds again. Tucson dropping to 29, but this is just the first in a string of sub-freezing nights on the way for Tucson. I'll let you know when we'll warm up coming up.
Thanks, Aaron. A driver is recovering this evening after being struck by a Suntran bus. It all happened this morning at Nogales Highway and Hughes Access Road. Pima County deputies say the driver of the SUV was transported to the hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The bus driver and the passengers were not hurt. Deputies are still investigating exactly how this crash happened.
The scandal over dangerous lead levels in Flint, Michigan's water has Pima County residents looking for assurance their water is safe. Water in Flint has had high lead levels since the city switched to water from the Detroit River. That water was corrosive enough to dissolve lead from old pipes. Now, health officials in our area say local water is safe. But as 9 on your side's Craig Smith reports, your zip code could tell if you're at risk of lead from other sources.
People in Flint are afraid of their water. They're depending on bottled water while Michigan state government tries to clean up the dangerous mess. Pima County's health director says Flint's crisis increased the number of calls asking about Tucson's water.
The truth is that in southern Arizona and in Pima County in particular, most lead exposures are not going to come from groundwater.
But Dr. Francisco Garcia says it is a good idea to beware of lead in other places, like old paint in houses built before lead paint was outlawed in the late 1970s. You can even break down the risk by your zip code. Red zones on this map show where risk of encountering lead may be higher, mainly from the age of the homes. Dr. Garcia says there are other ways kids can take in lead.
Painted painted surfaces, from toys, from certain spices, from certain home remedies. And to a lesser extent, there are certain occupations where there's a certain amount of lead exposure. And when those parents bring that into the household, that can also result in elevated blood lead levels in children.
You can buy inexpensive kits to test for lead on surfaces and in water. Ace Hardware on 22nd sold 2 surface test kits last month. At Water Street Station, they say Flint's troubles do not seem to have driven more people to drive in for purified water. Now, lead is a special concern for young children where it can damage a developing brain. If you are worried about the chance of lead exposure, your doctor can order a blood test. Guy?
Thanks, Craig. She wants to be the woman who unseats John McCain. Her name is Kelly Ward, a doctor from the Kingman Lake Havasu area. The Republican is in southern Arizona this week, saying it's time for a change, and she is that change. At the top of her list, border security.
So we have to have some kind of physical infrastructure, whether that's a wall or a fence, some kind of barrier at the places where the terrain is amenable to that. We have to also have more people that are able to do their job on the border. We have to use technology when possible, and we have to assure that people who cross our border illegally know that there are actually consequences for their actions.
Also on her list to change, Obamacare and VA medical care. If you'd like to meet the candidate, who calls herself Kelly with an I Ward, you'll find her at Bobo's restaurant tomorrow morning.
This is it, the final push. We're about an hour away from when Iowa residents can vote for who they think should be our next president. Candidates are using every last minute to sway voters. With more on the campaign trail, here's ABC's Brandy Hitt in Des Moines.
Wow, what a crowd. What a great, look at this.
It's decision day in Iowa.
I believe we will win.
I'll unite the Republican Party.
After months of television ads and campaign stops, it's down to the wire for the frontrunners. Hillary Clinton and daughter Chelsea rallying the troops before they canvass neighborhoods, convincing voters to caucus.
I'm so excited about tonight. I'm feeling so energized because of all of you.
Many voters admit, though, they can still be persuaded to change their minds.
It's going to be a very tough choice.
I'll just see what I feel at the caucus.
It's a tight race between Clinton and her Democratic opponent, Bernie Sanders.
If a lot of non-traditional voters, younger people, working class people, if they come out in big numbers, we'll win.
On the GOP side, a new Quinnipiac poll out today shows Donald Trump widening his lead over Ted Cruz. Trump holding this last-minute rally today with Sarah Palin.
This is the day we take our country back.
If Donald Trump was to pull it out tonight, he'll win overwhelmingly in New Hampshire, then he'll win South Carolina. It's very difficult to stop.
Donald Trump has spent roughly 28 days campaigning here in Iowa. That's less than half the amount of time Rick Santorum has spent here on the ground, and his poll numbers aren't even close to Trump's. The caucuses begin at 7 p.m. Central. Brandy Hitt, ABC News, Des Moines, Iowa.
A landmark case is being discussed in Tucson, the thousands of lives it could affect and the changes our city could see.
And meeting for the first time, the story of how 2 mothers are connected for the rest of their lives. You're watching KGUN9 on your side. A landmark Arizona desegregation prison case in the hands of a federal judge today. Judge Cindy Jorgensen heard from both sides on a federal civil rights settlement agreement that would require the Arizona Department of Corrections to end desegregation in all 10 prisons. That will end up impacting 40,000 inmates. With more on this case, here's Guy.
The lawsuit was brought on by inmates at the Wilmot Center here in Tucson. Stephen Rudisil challenged the DOC's racial segregation practices on constitutional grounds. The practices included assigning inmates to cells or bunk beds with inmates of the same sex or ethnicity, making certain employment assignments based on race or ethnicity, even segregating barbershop tools so that there were separate tools for each racial or ethnic group.
And he's someone who, knew what it was like to have to drink at a different water fountain or to be in a different part of the courthouse from white people. And so when he came to the Arizona prison system, being someone who lived through the civil rights era, it was very surprising to him that this was in effect in this prison system, this segregation.
Rudisill's attorneys argued this led to increased racial animosity. The Department of Corrections denied those allegations, citing its consideration of race is an appropriate and critical component of ensuring the safe, secure, and orderly operation of the prison system. One of the attorneys for Rudisill previously won the landmark case ending forced racial segregation of California's prison system. The settlement involves a 5-year plan. The Department of Corrections will review on a case-by-case basis to determine who is eligible for racial integrated housing. The court will oversee the process until 2023.
Boy, you were not kidding when you gave us a heads up about today's temperature. What a difference. Yesterday, absolutely gorgeous.
Total, complete flip of the switch, right?
It's as if we just picked up and left somewhere else.
Right, it is now winter. We knew it once we heard that wind rolling in last night. And so far, we've had some pretty decent rain. Tucson's airport, just about 12 to 18 hundredths of an inch. Coming up, though, we'll take a look at those snowfall totals.
And just minutes away, the story of how these two mothers met. You're watching KGUN9 on your side.
Says the Zika virus is a public health emergency of global concern. The Global Health Organization says the mosquito-borne virus is spreading rapidly and could be connected to birth defects. The WHO warns there could be as many as 4 million new infections this year, and the lack of vaccine or population immunity has the organization warning Americans from traveling to a list of South American countries. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said locally there are no cases reported in the United States, but there are cases of travelers returning from the affected countries.
Two families met for the first time in Phoenix over the weekend after a little girl got a heart donation from a baby boy.
Say, that's my heartbeat. That's Lucas's heartbeat.
It was an emotional meeting, with the boy's mother receiving a Build-A-Bear with a recording of the donated heart beating inside the little girl. The girl, Jordan Drake, is thriving today. But just a short time ago, she was fighting for her life and in need of a heart transplant. Around the same time, Lucas Clark, just months old, died. His organs were donated, and Jordan was chosen as the recipient for his heart. Both families had been communicating through presents and drawings by Jordan, but had never met in person.
It's hard to describe that she would be so selfless to be able to think of another family while she's going through her grief.
The only thing I could think of is, I can't save my own son. Why not save somebody else's? Why not save somebody else's child?
Donate Life Arizona says more than 122,000 people nationwide are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant, with more than 2,000 in Arizona. Last year, 433 lives were saved with organ donations.
Now, KGUN9 on your side first warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen.
Here's a look at Flagstaff. Saw some snow overnight and early this morning. Schools there were closed today, and you can see they were out bright and early. Well, maybe not bright, but definitely early, because it was still dark with the snow plows and the snow blowers and those snow shovels. All right, to our snow atop Mount Lemmon, we send you a picture now from Chris Miracle, one of our hardworking photojournalists who also happens to be a ski instructor at Ski Valley. How about that combination? Great picture here. Thank you so much for sharing that one with us, Chris. And here's a live look atop Mount Lemmon. This is just above Ski Valley, not at Ski Valley, mind you. This is not where people would be skiing, but this is just to give you an idea of how much snow they now have. And you can see some very low visibility conditions there. Tough to see the radio towers. As far as the snow totals are concerned, Mount Graham has had 7 inches of new snow in the last 24 hours. Summer Haven as well as Ski Valley, both locations have received about 5 inches of snow, 2 inches of snow for places like Bisbee, Elgin, and Canelo. Tombstone even about 1 inch of snow today. And Mount Lemmon, although the road to get there is is still closed. If it does reopen, temperatures are going to be warming up as the week wears on. Tomorrow, 25 degrees for a high there. Wednesday, 33, 43 with partly cloudy skies on Thursday. Tucson, our high today, 55 degrees, and that happens shortly after midnight. Our temperatures have been dropping ever since. We are eventually going to fall off to the upper 20s here tonight. So partly cloudy skies expected for us, and temperatures certainly below the freezing mark for just about all of southern Arizona. That means 22 degrees for Bowie and Douglas, 23 Bisbee, 25 in Sonoyta, 27 Green Valley, Marana at 29, 30 in 3 Points, 28 for Sells, again 29 for Tucson, Summer Haven, your overnight low at 11 degrees, Oro Valley at 29. So of course that means pets need to be indoors, those sensitive plants need to be covered up, make sure those pipes are still wrapped for the season. So pull out those frost claws and keep them out, as this is the first in a string of sub-freezing mornings on the way. In fact, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, Tucson will actually drop down to 26 degrees. So hard freeze conditions expected. In fact, we already have a hard freeze watch that has been posted for the blue areas here of Pima and Pinal counties. This again will become a hard freeze warning once we're in that Tuesday night into Wednesday morning time frame. That means we're expecting temperatures through 9 a.m. Wednesday to stay below 28 degrees for several hours at a time, and that's going to make those temperatures downright dangerous. Our storm system is rotating out. It still looks as though the clouds have a lot of moisture with them. Not a lot as far as rain left tonight. You might run into a few spotty showers here and there, but we're really not expecting much. Instead, those skies clearing out tomorrow for a high of 50 degrees. That is it. So we'll even be a little bit cooler tomorrow from what our high was today, even though that happened shortly after midnight. You will warm to 44 in Wilcox, 46 Tombstone, the same Sierra Vista, Marana ringing in at 54, 52 for Picacho, one above that 3 Points, but staying in the upper 50s in Vail, Benson, and in Corona. Your 7-day forecast now, we're seeing clear skies across the board, but it's going to take a while for our temperatures to warm up as that cool air sticks around in the wake of this storm. We'll be back into the 60s by Thursday and eventually warming to the upper 60s Saturday and low 70s. We'll return next week. We're talking 72 on Sunday, Monday at 72. But again, those overnight lows below freezing through Wednesday night.
Boy, the wind last night, so strong.
We had close to 50-mile-an-hour gusts at one point at Tucson's airport. We had, I think it was 48-mile-an-hour gusts recorded there with sustained wind about 25, 26 miles per hour. So yeah, the wind was certainly an issue.
I'm sure I'm not alone in saying kept me up.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh,
Erin.
no.
Now, before you head to the emergency room, a warning about the big bill that could result from your visit. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.